Hi guys, it's Zhang again from Moolahwise.com, and in today's video we'll be discussing a handful of questions we often get around simple versus compound interest on our money. The first question we'll be discussing is what is the difference between compound interest versus simple interest. Then we'll be showing a simplified example of compound interest versus simple interest on our money. The second question we'll be answering is how do I calculate the required rate of return given a fixed amount of time for it to double. Lastly, we'll be discussing how do I compound my money and where can I get 10% compounded interest on my money with zero risk. Understanding the difference between the simple interest versus compound interest can have a huge impact on our money. Be sure to watch this video so you can understand the difference between simple interest and compound interest on our money. So let's get into it. So what is the difference between simple interest and compound interest? Okay, simple interest is a fixed rate calculated on the original principal only. So for instance, let's say you started saving money in an account that was giving you 8% simple interest on your money. Then the interest you would receive is only 8% of the original principal only. I will show a simplified example shortly between simple and compounding interest. On the other hand, comparing to compound interest, our money would earn interest from the original principal plus the accumulated interest. And what I mean by that is that the principal and the interest are earning interest too in a compound interest environment compared to a simple interest where it's only based on the original principal. So let's see a simplified example of simple interest versus compound interest on our money. The example of simple interest versus compound interest below is a simplified example of how different it will make on our money if we're getting simple interest versus compounding interest. Sticking to our previous example of 8% return, let's see the difference between the two. The example of simple interest, in this first example, let's say you started saving in an account that was giving you 8% simple interest on your money and you had a starting amount of $10,000. As you can see in the middle column, you'll be earning 8% of $10,000, which is $800 every year. At the end of the year balance, the $800 in interest will be added to the previous year balance, totaling $26,000 in 20 years. This is what it looked like if your money was growing in a simple interest environment. Now let's see what it looks like when your money is in a compounding interest environment. In the second example, everything stays the same, but the only thing different is that your ending balance becomes the new amount the interest of 8% is applied to for the next year, meaning the interest on your money has earned from previous years is also getting interest, or said differently is that my interest is earning interest. As you can see, at the end of 20 years you'll have $46,610 if your money was compounding interest. Putting them side by side, when you put them side by side, you can see why compounding interest is more powerful on your money than just simple interest. As you can see in the simple interest on your left, you're getting a fixed rate of interest which is based on the original principal only. While on the right side, on the compounding side, you can see that the ending balance will become the new balance of the next year with the interest added on, meaning your interest is earning interest too. We all work so hard for our money, and wouldn't you agree with me that we need to figure out a way so that our money can work for us? Compound interest is one of those fundamental concepts that one must master before they can have their money work for them. Wow, compounding interest is a really powerful concept when it comes to how my money is growing or not growing. Next, let's see how to calculate compound interest. Rule of 72. To calculate how long it will take your money to double in a compound interest environment, you can use the rule of 72. You can also watch my other video on the rule of 72 for a more in-depth explanation of the rule of 72. But rearranging the rule of 72 as shown below, the revised formula can show you the rate of return you'll need in a given amount of time to double. So for instance, let's say you have a kid that is 10 years old today and he just inherited $100,000 from his grandparents' life insurance. His parents will need $200,000 for him to go to college in 8 years. How much interest does he have to earn on his money if he only has 8 years for it to double? Rearranging the rule of 72 can help you answer that question. As you can see, when you take 72 and divide by the number of years, then it says to double your money in 8 years, you'll need a rate of return of 9% compounded every year for 8 years. How do I compound my money, and where can I get up to 10% compound interest on my money? The final questions we want to discuss are how do we compound our money, and where can I get up to 10% compound interest on my money? First, for you to have your money compounding, one must put their money in an account that will actually earn a compounding interest instead of an account earning a simple interest. Additionally, the rate of return also plays a key factor in how fast our money is growing too. For instance, if you put all your money in a place that offers compound interest, but the rate is so low that you'll never see any real growth on it, then it doesn't really matter if it's compounding or not. Think of an interest rate from a bank. The bank offers you a compound interest rate too, but the rate it offers you is so low that it'll take forever to double your money. 72 years to be exact, if the interest was at a measly 1%. The last question about where can I get up to 10% compounding on my money without any risk? To answer that question, if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that you could get 10% compound interest in an IUL cash value. And when I say IUL, I just mean Index Universal Life Insurance. And when I say cash value, I'm just referring to the savings component inside of a permanent life insurance program. So the idea is that you're just saving money in a max funded Index Universal Life Insurance program, or a max funded IUL. One last thing I want to point out is that when you're saving money in an IUL, is that there's no risk because of the floor protection. If you want to earn a double-digit return without putting your money at risk, then look into a IUL. If you don't know what an IUL is, then watch my other video about frequently asked questions about IUL, or where to buy an IUL. So in conclusion, what did we learn today? We learned the difference between simple interest and compound interest, and that difference is that the simple interest, you earn a fixed percentage based on the original principal, while in a compound interest environment, you will earn interest on the principal and on the earned interest. Because of this fact, where our interest is earning interest, then wouldn't you agree with me that it is better to put your money in a compounding interest environment instead of a simple interest environment? Then we learn how to calculate a rate of return given a certain amount of time. Lastly, we learned where we could save our money to get up to 10% compounding interest. Well, I hope you learned something today, and that is all I wanted to share. Keep compounding, my friend. We have a mission of educating 1 million families on how money works, and we can't achieve that goal without your help. You can help us reach that goal of educating 1 million families on how money works by liking our content on YouTube and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Text me at 415-385-9116 or email me at info@moolahwise.com if you have any questions about money concepts that you want me to answer in my next video. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.